This is such a cool thing that you did. You coached a Special Olympics weightlifting team at one
Uh,
point. And I wondered, did you see limiting beliefs there with that team? And how is that different compared to your other coaching and clients?
Very good question. And in actuality, it was interesting because I've always been a coach, whether it's with personal training clients in the fitness realm or in the personal development, leadership training. I've always been a coach. And in this particular case, I was the assistant coach. And I love that role. The guy who was coaching, this guy Stuart, was absolutely fantastic. And I've never seen anyone better with these athletes and Special Olympic students than he was. And I learned a lot from him. And it was great to be in that subordinate role for change. And so to go back to the subject of limiting.
Now, was this before you had won Mr. America or after?
No, this was after.
After you had, wow, yeah. Okay, very cool.
And I'm trying to remember how I ultimately got involved, because I was doing a lot of work with Special Olympics and special needs back in New York. Mostly I was emceeing events. I was doing those kind of things, but I never did any coaching until here in Colorado. So this was long after I'd won the in the Olympia and all that stuff.
Okay.
And so I don't remember how I got involved in it, but it was something I was, I will cherish to this day, every day.
Yeah. It's an amazing achievement. Amazing.
It was really, I'm telling you. And you go back to limiting beliefs in terms of how it applies to these Special Olympic athletes. I will tell you this, that it doesn't, it's so fascinating because it doesn't really come into play. Limiting beliefs for these guys, many of them Down syndrome, other challenges. And for me, it was so relatable because I came from that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade until I was taken out of the special ed class. I could relate to that. Those were my peers in many respects,
Yeah. So I found it so interesting that you ended up interweaving that into your life later.
Yeah. And it was, so cool. I got to understand it more, and I think it helped that I had that experience going into it.
Absolutely. I think that's why you had that experience.
No question. I think you're right. It provides these opportunities.
Yeah. It was prep work.
I'm telling you, the limiting beliefs just it doesn't come into play with them as much, not as often, a little bit here and there, but really not as much. Those Special Olympic athletes, I'll give you one example. Ed Cardona was one of my favorite athletes, and we actually became very close friends. We did a lot of things. I brought him on stage many times when I was speaking because he was so accomplished. He was a multi-gold medal winner.
Wow.
He had spina bifida. He had all sorts of challenges. Most of the time he was in his wheelchair. When he wasn't, he was walking on his crutches. But the guy could lift. And I remember it was like I could tell him the 300 pounds on the bar. Get over there and let's do that deadlift. Let's do it. He would go over and give it he was just like, he never said, he would never protest.
No questions asked.
That's 200 pounds more than I've ever done before.
Right.
He didn't say that. He would just go over and give it 100% effort every single time.
Right.
And if he failed, it didn't matter. He still celebrated.
Right.
In fact, that's one of the things I remember the most about Special Olympic athletes. And this is something we can take away from it as far as a lesson, is that they celebrate the victories. They celebrate the failures. They celebrate the effort.
Yeah.
And they don't care. It's just like they would cheer and root on and encourage everyone. It didn't matter what team they were on.
Right.
Didn't matter. My team going against the Longmont team didn't matter. They were screaming, yelling at the top of their lungs for the guy to get the deadlift that was going to beat them.
Egoless.
That's right. They didn't look at it as a success or a failure. They looked at it as fun. Lifting weights, taking on those challenges was something that was fun for them.
Right.
And so they celebrated it every time.